This is unbelievable. Oh my gosh. This is not, this isn't real. I'm having an out-of-body experience. This is a dream. Wake up. I can't believe it.
Hiding over there for Buffalo too. I'm a long traveler.
Nice to see you. Very well, it seems.
Tim Bunn. Yeah, me too. We have fun. Hey, Larry. Good to see you on the last
He sent me some angles to the bed. Interesting peeping. I didn't know what it was, and then I said, "Oh yeah, that's right."
Lucky you. Good for you. Are you really? Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, that's just
You. What is it? Just what you want. Just what you want. The stint got caught in the car.
We just moved into our house, right?
I don't want to go burn yourself. Yeah?
They're way out in the house.
That's why. That's why I knew your name. So you guys are related. Your daughter? I didn't know that.
Oh, good.
If I can get that cigar out of his voice, that's all. I haven't heard it since he retired. Because he couldn't hear. Dad couldn't hear.
When was the last time you was in DC for this? No, spring break. Is that same time that we have
I get like 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Just beginning, not quit. Just quit and lay around the house and people say, "Hey, congratulations, you're a great quitter." Man, You did so good.
Envious though, Tim.
Huh?
Everyone's envious.
But thank God for the new house family. The last of the big guys, you know? I mean, any other job, they'd have thrown my ass out the door 10 years ago when we merged. They'd have said, thank you, we don't need 2 executive editors, and you are gone. And now what do? I hang around 10 years, I sort of do what I want to do, read the internet, talk to lawyers, stuff like that. Next thing you know, they're offering me 2 years pay, 10 years credit toward more credit to my pension, lifetime health insurance. I mean, these are good people.
Yeah.
These are, and they made it possible by being so good to work with great people. You know, because most people stay.
Right.
Good. Some people just, you know, just. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I do. I have to excuse myself.
We're not sure yet. We want to upgrade this schedule to allow us to have time to travel. Their own schedules. So, we have cards that are ending up. A lot of places have always
I can smile. Get the setup and keep going. But he wanted to go drink you know,
Well, see, that's the thing. We were in your car? Wow. Like you're saying, now, so they can make it coming from this
in the art department,
I was in the receiving line.
and then
The only person talking about it. I'm fine, just for this. No, Sue White sent me an email. His family.
I'm still a
Yeah, you know, the only person who's come over to see me.
He's the older man.
And he drives, he's got 2 BMWs and he's a captain of all the
Opposing
He's got a puzzle.
That's the nature of this.
You just see you.
Now you can come home.
I can see you out there pulling that white bread out of the ocean. You know,
Often just you're fine. You know what else I did now? Put bread on.
Citizen journalism.
I'm sorry.
It takes a union meeting.
He was the director.
We have people who have come from as far away as Prague in Jefferson County. We have people here to celebrate the Bunster.
Yes.
Herman Bunster, the Bun-O-Matic, Bun-O-Rama, thinking outside the bun, the man you married. Without further ado, Sue, do you want to talk? And
I'd like to welcome everyone here. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Tim, for allowing me to do this. I know that you probably didn't want to early on, but I forced him, and I'm glad that I did. He has been a colleague, a mentor, and a friend to all of us, so I'm so glad you all came, and please eat when we're done with the program. I don't want any leftovers. I will turn it over to whoever would like to speak, and if not, we will start reading from Tim's scrapbook, the memos that people have written.
where's Frank Sharp? I believe Mr. Sharp here was originally scheduled to appear on the head table dais. Is he here? Or any other people? Who's that?
I just wanted to share or return a favor, or maybe return a sentiment that Tim did for me when I did the sad thing of leaving the Herald Journal and the Post Standard, which was, Tim, don't go.
Here's a man who's never afraid of a microphone.
And never lost for words.
We're here obviously to honor, what's his name? Quite seriously, you all know I love to joke around, but there are moments when being serious is a good thing. And I doubt there is anybody who has known you, Tim, who isn't the better for it. I'm one of them. I sat across from your desk more than once, and I think anybody who sat across from Tim can remember the door closes, Tim looks at you, you exchange the usual hi, how are you? And then all of a sudden, everything in that room gathers around Tim, and the concentration level is incredible. And he remembers everything he says and everything you say. And I, for one, am a better person because of you. You've helped me with things. You were always ready with advice. I knocked on your door more than once. And thank you for being the man you are. And good luck.
Who's up? Who's up?
My name's John Hand. I don't know everybody. My father, Phil, worked with Tim in Rochester 27 years ago, around there in 1980. There's one, no, it probably won't be funny, so I shouldn't set it up that way, but in the bathroom 2 weeks ago. Oh wait, that's not the story I wanted to tell. That's pretty embarrassing. Actually, I walked in about 9 o'clock in the morning, and I saw Tim, and he's looking in the mirror, and he's trimming his eyebrows with the scissors on his Swiss Army knife and a little. And I thought that was kind of odd. I said, "Hi, Tim," and he said, "Hello." And then he puts his glasses like, "Oh, John, yeah, how are you?" And he told me a story that I thought was kind of interesting, and maybe can provide a little insight into him. He says that his mother often tells a story about when he was 6 years old, he got his first set of eyeglasses. And when he put them on, he looked up as he was leaving or whatever, and he saw the trees, and he said, he saw these things on the trees. And he said for the first time, he saw that there was leaves on the trees, and that they weren't just these big shapes. And I thought to myself, everybody knows Tim's attention to detail, and I thought it was the first time probably that he saw those types of details, and he's been paying attention to them ever since, and seeing all the beautiful branches and all the broken branches in our copy ever since. So, Tim, thanks very much. You've really been a great advocate for me and a great person to learn from.
Just turn the echo down on this thing.
Yeah.
I'm Charlie Miller. Tim has almost fired me 3 times. And the only reason I'm even talking is because John brought it up. The bathroom. Tim Bunn, I shit you not, made going to the bathroom an event. No one went to the bathroom like this. He would go up. Nancy, you have to. Because we always wonder about what goes on in yours. We hear that, I'm gonna blow the lid off of stall number 1. No. You could be going to the stalls, just minding your own business. And there's only 3 in the men's room over in the newsroom. And Bunn would walk up, and he would go right next to you, even if the one on the end is big. He wouldn't just, crouch in, and he was just, he'd unbuckle on, untuck his shirt.
Was it only 3 times?
Yeah. But
I can still fire you.
We're up to 4 now. But the thing is that, Tim, he's a manly man. At least he wanted everyone to think that.
Where's that orchestra music?
But, he would look at you. He'd like to drop in an occasional swear word just to show that he's one of the guys. Hey, you catch that game last night, Pat? Hell of a game. Yeah, it was, Tim. I didn't have a hard time that. I'm Charlie, not Pat. But that only took like 8 years. Eventually, he finally realized he got me and Pat LeCamp. Right. But, the bathroom is just not the same without Tim because, he would talk your ear off in the bathroom or his office or the cafeteria, doesn't matter. He always had time for you. 5, 10, 90 minutes. I mean, he really.
I haven't had much to do the last 7 years.
Shit, Tim, you just ruined my punchline. No. Tim, the bathroom's not the same without you. We miss you. I miss those 90-minute conversations that we would have talking about, the weather, news, anything. We miss and bathroom etiquette. Thank you very much for teaching me how to take a squirt.
Who's coming up here? Larry? I'm Larry, and I've only been here 33 years, so it doesn't matter. But Tim, the one thing I always noticed, you were always really attentive to the obit page. You wanted to make sure that you weren't on it and you had a successful day, but when you start tending to be that age, you're an old Army guy, I don't know. But the one thing I really noticed, that there was a journalist in there the other day who died and he went to heaven. And he went up to St. Peter, met him at the gate, and he said, well, welcome. And he says, I'm not sure I want to come in here because I really like working for a newspaper. And well, St. Peter said, we have our own up here. Come on, I'll take it down to the newsroom. And he went down there and walked through, and he saw this old guy bent over this press, and the journalist said, boy, wow, is that Gutenberg? He said, yeah, he's on our team up here. And, well, that's really great. So he walked over, and there's this glass enclosed corner room, and holy cow, is that William Randolph Hearst? Yeah, he's here. He's on our team, too. Then he walked over in the middle of the newsroom. There's this guy running around. You know, he's about 5'4". I don't know what. He's got his hair slicked back, and he's got this long-sleeve shirt with the buttons always buttoned on the sleeves. And he said, wow, is that Tim Bunn? And St. Peter said, no, that's God. But in our newsroom, he likes to play Tim Bunn.
There you go. All right. Mr. Torrin Beasley.
A couple of things. First, Tim gave me my first shot in journalism, and I just want you to know, when we first met and we were sitting down and you were telling me what the pay was and all that, and I was sitting there with this blank look on my face, it wasn't that I didn't want the job, I was just in shock that I was getting it. So. But over the years, Tim has taught me a ton, and there are some things you don't know about him, so I'm going to share this one little thing. Over the years, he would tell me where to go to get the best suits, and you all know how Tim dresses and how much we appreciate that, and I would ask him about ties, and he always kept me, and I left and went to D.C., and I'm taking all this great stuff with me, and one day, it shows you how Tim changes. I called Tim, and he answers the phone, and he goes, my dog, what's up? And I was absolutely in shock. So, just so you know, he's not all stiff, he's learned over the years. And thanks for everything, Tim. I really, over the years, I'm real grateful for having had you as a mentor and a great friend. I love you. Love you.
All right. I know you're all thinking about what you're going to say, so you might as well come on up here. Everybody's had the career review where we go in and he talks about his career.
My name is Stan Evans. I came to Syracuse about 25, 27 years ago. At that time, the Syracuse newspapers were not that well respected in New York State or elsewhere. And I don't know if those people of you who are here now understand the great depths that this paper had sunk to about 30 years ago. I was there before Tim was there. I was there while he was there and eventually left. But what I can tell you is that the difference that Tim Bunn made to this newspaper, to those both newspapers, is incredible. He brought a level of journalism perfection and standards that had not existed there previously. He first went to the Post Standard and raised that newspaper's credentials and expectations to a new height. After that, he then went to the Herald and raised that newspaper's expectations and standards. And he's the guy who made it happen. He made it happen. There are a lot of people I know contributed, but this is the guy who set the standard and made it happen. Tim, thank you.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. You know, the day they announced that Bunn was taking over the Herald Journal, I was on the Herald Journal news staff, and it just swept through the newsroom. They said, Bunn is coming over to the Herald. And we said, man, we got a chance now. We got a chance. He's going to do for the Herald what he did for the Post. I'll never forget that day.
I don't want you to get a swelled head, Tim, so I'm going to read you something.
Is this a newsroom neatness now?
Well, no. I cast the net wide. I asked people to share their anecdotes, and one person that I contacted was Don Pickard.
Oh.
He said, don't you know that Tim and I never got along? And I said, well, I'm sure you have a good anecdote then. And he did, and it's in your scrapbook. Tim and I never saw eye to eye, and we didn't get along too well. One day we had a disagreement in the morning. He left a note on my desk later that day saying, I'm sorry I was short with you. All I could think was, Tim, you're always short.
You also locked them out of the...
All right, who's next here? Who's next here? We have Steve Carlin coming up to.
Hello, Tim.
Hello, Steve.
the scrapbook is nice, but I want you to know that I went down into the basement at work and I got your glass office. It was a real bitch getting it on that bus and bringing it over. But it's outside. I've packed it on top of your car, and you'll be able to take it home with you. It's a nice parting gift. All right. Well, good luck to you.
You know, Bunn is famous for a lot of things in our newsroom. He was famous for being the flashiest dresser, and for me, he was always famous for just like spinning around in his chair and saying, "You know, I don't give a flying fuck about what they think." He had a way of just sort of like confining his swear words to the tightest verbiage that could possibly be done. He would put so much oomph into those swear words that he actually didn't swear as much, but people always came out of there and they would just like say, "He was swearing at me." All right, who's next here? Now, you know, there's a lot. Sandy Smokes?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
You know, there's a lot of aspects to this. I know a lot of folks are not comfortable talking, so you know, you can talk later too, Tim. But let's keep it going.
That's okay, Joe.
I don't know if I can do this without being emotional, so I'm going to try, and people don't usually see me emotional, so I got to get myself together here. But I just want to thank you so much because you've meant so much to me. I have one story, I think, I have many stories about you. And then Don Pickard left the reason why Don Pickard probably didn't write much because Tim actually locked him out of the office one time when we were having a meeting. And it was an ed board meeting, and Don was late, and he didn't like you to be late at his meetings, and Don just sort of sauntered in. We were all sitting there, we're thinking, oh gosh, here he comes. And there's Don, he's like, open up the door, and he's knocking on the window and stuff, and Tim just keeps going out with the meeting. We're all sitting there going, yeah, and Don is like knocking and tickling the door, and Tim won't open the door and everything. I'm thinking, oh gosh. He left shortly after that. There was a deal, right? There was some sort of deal and everything.
That was my hope.
Yeah, well, I know. One story that illustrates, I mean, you've done so much. I got to write a column because of you and your encouragement. You're a great mentor, a great friend. We've also had some very famous arguments. And one that I think of in particular, but I think it illustrates, and I have some dental work, so, you know, things are falling out. So and I ate some gummy bears with the dental work. And I forgot it was temporary, so if you see a big gap in my mouth, it's just of the gummy bear situation. Anyway, we were in St. Louis doing recruiting for, it was a minority job conference, and there had been some issues in the newsroom, and there were some women in the newsroom, I don't know if you remember that, we felt that we were not being treated equally, and that there were some issues. There were some issues of sexism and that we thought they needed to be addressed, and we had talked about them among ourselves. And I decided to approach you on them in St. Louis at the Minority Job Conference, and we're sitting there with our job booth, and I said, well, this is what I'm thinking. This is what's happening, this is what's not happening. And when I went on and had my list, and you know, Tim's initial reaction isn't always like, oh yeah, let's just sit down and talk about that. He's like, that's a bunch of crap. What are you talking about? That's bull. So he starts hollering. Well, you know, he hollered at me, and you know, you all know that I'm about my faith and being Christian and stuff. Well, I was evolving, let's say, at that point, getting to that point, and so he started yelling. Well, so did I, and so we're standing at the job recruiting booth, screaming at each other, going, "What do you mean, so and so?" I said, "I know what I'm talking about." And there's a job applicant standing there, like approaching the Wizard of Oz. That's what she looked like. She had like a resume there. We're going, "I don't care what you think. You know, so." And she's just standing there shaking with the resume in her hand, like, "Am I supposed to give it to anybody?" But we're screaming at each other, so she really didn't have time and everything. So that went on, and we finally calmed down, and she just sort of dropped. I don't know what she did. She probably ran away. I don't think she never got a job there, so I'm thinking that it didn't work out. But the thing I wanted to tell you about his character, though, to show you who he was, and he would yell, and I can remember I told him that I thought that we didn't treat Nancy Lorraine Hoffman fair. That was 20 years ago. Now things have changed. And he goes, yeah, all right. So I'll give you that. And I remember telling him, you know, I just thought that it wasn't fair. And he goes, "I don't give a damn what you think, Sandy." And I was like, okay. So that was the moment in St. Louis, too. But he did come back and immediately held a meeting. and asked all of the women who felt that they had been discriminated against and had issues, and sat down and went through them one by one by one by one and corrected it. And so for all the blustery things that he could listen, and he was compassionate in his Tim way, and he also wanted to make changes, and he wanted to make the newspaper better. And he gave me my opportunity as a columnist, and he was the one who suggested it, and I thank you so much for it, and I'm going to miss you. And if I say Ann one more time, I'm sure that you'll write me a memo. But God bless you, love you, keep on keeping on.
Who else is out there? You know, we all have those moments with Bunn. Mine was, you know, he had this ability to boil down a story. He would say, "Okay, what's the story about?" And I'd be saying, "Well, it's this and this." And he'd say, "People are imperiled in a work site, right?" And I'd go, "Yeah, that's it, that's it." I couldn't figure out what the story was about. He would lay it out in 13 seconds, you know. The other great Bunn remembrance I have is him saying to me, and I can't remember what brought it on, but it was a very cynical and cold-hearted thought that you uttered that I took to heart really much. He said, like, "Yeah, we don't make any money, but when we die, we get good obits." Now, who else? Do we have people up here talking here? We have some people. Yes, we have some. We have Bob Lloyd. I think is coming up front.
Some of you have heard this story, and I apologize to you if you have. And so, but I have to tell you about my job interview with Tim. I was teaching at the university, and I came by to be interviewed. It was a great interview. It was I really connected with Tim. I felt, you know, it's one of the most relaxing. We were just chatting. It was going great. And at the end, I could tell that I was, you know, had a really good chance of being hired. And Jeff Ray was the sports editor. He stopped in for a second because this is when SU was winning. It was trying to win its first national championship. So everything just went perfectly. So I left, and it was cold. It was in February or so, and I was walking out the door. And so I got outside. And I was putting on my gloves because it was cold. And I thought, gosh, I was having a hard time getting them on because I must have been more nervous than I thought. You know, my hands were sweating because I couldn't get my gloves on. You know, so I got to my car and I fumbled around for the keys and I put my hands in my pocket and I felt these things and I pulled them out and they were my gloves. And I thought, well, then whose gloves do I have on?
I was wondering where they went.
And so I realized that I've just ripped off Tim Bunn's gloves, you know? So there's two things that really struck me immediately. First of all, they're very small. Whatever that means. And
You didn't take his shoes.
Secondly, they were really, really cheap. These were not. Yes, I'm telling you, they were really inexpensive gloves. I was really
That's
shocked.
why he thought they were his.
So I was faced with a dilemma. What do I do? I mean, do I go back? You know, I just had this great interview. Oh, and by the way, I've almost ripped off your gloves. Here you are, or something. Or do I just forget about it and, you know, he'll figure it out later on, I guess. So, of course, you know, the right thing to do, noble thing to do, of course. So I drove home. And I didn't until I left the Herald and the Post-Standard 9 years ago that I ever admit that I actually had ripped off his gloves. And so even tonight, I have to say I owe him two things. One is my career, and the second thing is another pair of gloves someday.
It all comes out. It all comes out, you know. When we retire, we'll be lucky to have people come from, like, Cortland to our party.
Watching Tim put away his special glasses cleaning cloth into its special plastic holder, just this second reminded me of a story. He's famously, obsessively compulsive, neat freak, wacko. So whenever I went to his office for a meeting, I would always make sure to touch his glass desktop while he's talking. And I would do it nonchalantly, but I always know he noticed without, you never say anything, but he'd start chewing his gum faster. And then when I left, I always made sure to turn around, and he was always with that glasses cleaner.
Absolutely.
Is there a final count of how many times Tim Edza redesigned the Herald Journal?
Oh, I know.
3 times in 18 months. That was standard, but we all owe Tim our thanks. We're indebted to him because if not for Tim Bunn, this could have been the Herald Journal. Remember? No stories. I counted the promos, 30 promos. I don't want to know how close we came to having this as the Herald. And I recall at the time that there was even a focus group, and I was taking classes part-time at Syracuse. And so they televised the focus group meetings, and they had reporters come in and watch with editors, and I recognized 3 of the students in my classes who were in this focus group, and they were the dumbest people in the class. They didn't even read the newspaper, which I guess is why they were in the focus group. I don't know. So I guess the lesson here is that focus groups probably have their place. Collaboration is great. Consensus is good. But at the end of the day, people want to work for leaders. And I know that during my time in Syracuse, we worked for a leader who didn't fear the truth, chased the truth, and put it in the newspaper. So you can throw this away.
All right, now we're going to go for a few more minutes here. So if you're thinking of talking, come up now, because we don't want to just keep this going all night long. We want a chance for everybody to get back into just the social butterfly aspect of this, and we also want to hear a few words from the master himself. But do we have any speakers out there? Who's coming up here?
Stan Lindhorst. Stan
Lindhorst has just entered the room, and I believe that they are calling, and they're going to pass him on their shoulders up front, sort of like in a rock star mode. I see Frank Camuso back there too. It's hard to imagine Frank Camuso not without words. We'll move it on here. I think we're moving them up front. Just sort of like the Hells Angels coming up at Altamont right here.
Okay, this is just a short story. It's actually one of my favorite Tim Bunn stories, and it also has to do with Don Pickard. So,
I think I told it.
You told it?
Yes.
No, you came up twice?
No. She didn't tell that story. I didn't tell that.
Oh, you didn't tell this
Not
story?
the lockout.
No, okay, yeah. No. Yeah, he used to lock him out. That was fun. And he used to yell at him, too. I was just started at the paper, and I was probably like 25 years old. And Tim Bunn used to scare the shit out of me sometimes. Because you never knew. He was like that teacher that you never knew was going to be mean or what. Whatever, so he'd walk in there sometimes. I mean, he was always good to me, but he would just yell at Don, and we were all just kind of like, we'd all try to push ourselves back into the chair, and try not to be there, And then we'd all get up going, ooh. So anyways, I mean, it's not like Don didn't deserve it, that's the thing. Because, I mean, I won't get into that, but one of his favorite, Don, about 2:30, 3 o'clock every day, would fall asleep. Now, he would fall asleep in such a way that, to the casual observer, it would actually look like he was reading the paper, contemplating an editorial or whatever. He would do something like this, because Don was a big guy, had a big chest. and he would just put his head here like this, and have his glasses down over his nose, and kind of lay a paper over his belly. So it kind of looked like he was awake. So, one day Tim walks by and he sees him, and we used to have these glass partitions up, and he just rapped on the glass, and Don shot out of the chair, and Don was about 250 pounds, and he just won one leg, and he just shot up, and he like one leg, and he shot up, and he was like, oh, and the funny thing is Tim must have done that 2 or 3 more times, because he just didn't get it, and and we would just laugh, and that was one of the best things ever. But I also want to say, Tim, thank you very much for you gave me a chance, when my 6-month meeting with the publisher, you all had to bring in a question saying, what's your question? My question was, will you ever hire a cartoonist full time? And the publisher's the answer was no. But Tim did anyway, so that was great. So, I want to thank you, Tim. Okay.
Jeff Ray. We have a common theme here. Everybody's thanking him for allowing us to extend all our careers here for the duration at the Syracuse Post-Standard.
I'm one of the few people who predated Tim at the newspaper. There was the elder Stephen Rogers. There was God, dirt. What are the other analogies? So I was a Phil Hoffman guy. Anybody remember Phil?
Yeah,
Yeah. Phil was our managing editor, and all of a sudden, of course, may God rest his soul, Phil passed away, and Tim came over, and we wondered what we were getting into, and I was just at a conference, and at part of the conference you have to have a business meeting, and you have to go by Robert's Rules of Order. So that one of my first memories of Tim, and may I invoke Robert's Rules of Order and say, may I have a motion to waive the reading of the dress code, please? It might take the rest of the night. I would like to say that in no uncertain terms that today I count myself a Tim Bunn man, and he earned that kind of respect, and his example of dignity under fire, dignity under news fire or political fire or what have you, is something we should never forget. It's been humbling to me. It's been, inspirational to me. And God bless you, Nancy and Tim, on a new life.
There you go.
Do we have another victim here? Rhonda. I don't know about this.
Did you just call me? Did you just call me? I've been with Tim for almost I was with Tim for almost 25 years, and God bless you, Nancy. When Tim came from the Post-Standard, he said, just keep doing what you're doing. I've never had an assistant before. Over the years, Tim has been a friend as well as a colleague, and I earned that certificate of endurance, let me tell you.
You sure did.
Yes, I did. And I can still hear you chewing gum in the dictaphone when I'm transcribing. And I'll be hearing you yell my name for at least the next 6 months. But the classic was when Tim couldn't find me, he'd call the newsroom and say, find Rhonda and send her back to her desk and tell her I'm trying to call her. No matter where I was or what I was doing, find her. And then the day I was walking back from the ladies' room, and Ken Peters says, he's calling your name. So finally, I said, okay, Tim. I walked in the office, I closed the door, and I said, look, You gotta stop calling my name. It embarrasses me and it makes you look like an asshole. I love you. I'm gonna miss you. Stay in touch.
Stop that. Do we have any other speakers coming up here? We do.
We have John Bunn.
We have, yes.
Most people, I think, brought you a real gift, but ours is a gag gift, so we wanted to make sure you opened it in the right setting.
It's wrapped in
all the headlines that you had something to
do with
getting the
legal papers open.
Yeah.
Thing.
And that's why I
That's
hate
why they
it.
were ruining it.
You know,
Just rip it open.
Yeah, sure. That didn't take very long.
Oh, great.
We should have watched it out. It's an obsessive compulsive action figure. We love you, Tim. We'll miss you.
Stan Lindhorst.
Now we got the Nebraska accent.
That's right. Well, I was actually a chaperone at the FM Dance Marathon tonight, and I didn't think I was going to be able to make it, but Sue and I snuck out a little bit early, so I don't have anything prepared, Tim. But unlike a lot of you, I think I've known Tim longer than most of you. Tim, I don't know if you remember it, but when you were at the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, I was at the Binghamton Press, and we needed a new city editor in Binghamton. And there was this guy from Rochester, which, of course, at that time was the holy grail of Gannett. We all wanted to get to Rochester. Well, here was this guy from Rochester who we thought might come to Binghamton. And we were very thrilled. And he came, he interviewed. Do you remember going to the Vestal Steakhouse?
Oh, sure.
We had a great...
Vestal Steakhouse.
The Vestal Steakhouse, yeah.
Memorable Vestal Steakhouse.
And I tell you, we all thought, oh, this guy would be great. We could really get ourselves on the map. But then, wouldn't you know it, Tim turned down Binghamton, and a few months later he was going to the Miami Herald. Well, I got my revenge. Now, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I went on to San Diego a couple of years later, and I remembered who you were, and I sort of followed your career. And APME, the Associated Press Managing Editors meeting, was in San Diego. You were there, and it rained like hell the entire time. And I remember hooking up with you and Nancy and talking with you a little bit, and you couldn't believe, is this what the weather's always like in Southern California? Well, you got your revenge on me, I guess, because I ended up coming here after you left the Miami Herald. Now, I don't know if you remember the interview here. I sure do. Talked to you, talked to Steve Rogers, and you had made a little surprise for me also. It was at, what was that bar? It was closed down because of a DWI crash. It's on the west side.
Maggie Jordan's.
Maggie Jordan's, thank you. Anyway, you took me to dinner there, and I had a surprise because I worked in Binghamton. I knew Hart Seeley. And there, we walk in, and there's Hart and Nancy, and we had a great dinner and a great time. And then Hart, of course, after you got done with dinner, you took me over to the bar, the N&H, where we met Tommy, and I had my real introduction to Syracuse and what's important here. But it was a great time, and I'm sorry I didn't have anything funnier prepared, but Tim, I hope you know how much we care about you, how much you meant to me, my career. My children were born here because of you. I love Syracuse because of you. So help me out. Where's John? I need my Geico man again. Oh, that's all right. But we love you very much and always will. And I think there's some other people here who took the buyout too, and we ought to just say, I'm not sure who's here, but I know there are going to be a lot of people here. Jan Dempsey. Jan Dempsey. All right, where are you, Jan? And Jeff is, and Larry is, and I'm probably, and Nancy is. I didn't even get a chance. Larry right there. But we're going to miss all of you. But tonight's Tim's night, so thank you, Tim. We'll miss you. We'll love you very much. Thanks.
Do we have any other We should, well,
Wait a second.
Grant.
Grant. Hey, Grant.
Hello, everybody.
He's from our East Bureau.
Yeah. Everybody talks about how far I've come to make it here tonight, and I have come a long way, but it's just a short hop to come and to pay tribute to Tim because, I was working in Central Texas at a newspaper in Temple, Texas, where Tim used to live near there in Killeen.
I lived in Temple.
You lived in Temple as well, and he was, I think, helped a lot, instrumental in getting me out of there when I applied to work in the features department, and for some reason, sort of picked me out of the crowd there once I came here, and saw something in me that that other people maybe didn't, and really helped me, work my way up through the ranks at Syracuse. And I always considered Tim to be my mentor. We clicked, and I think personally and professionally, and we just had a great time together. And I've had the pleasure of staying at Tim's house when I was here, I guess back in 2001, I think was the last time I was here. And so everybody's making jokes about his obsessive-compulsive, but I remember when I was in, and I'm also a car guy, and Tim's a big car guy, and we were driving, I think you had a Lexus at the time, and I was sitting in the back seat, and I sat on something, and it was a paintbrush, and I was like,
makeup brush.
It was a makeup brush, yeah. And you were not in the car at the time, and I was like, Nancy, but you were sitting in the front seat, and I said, Nancy, there's a paintbrush or a makeup brush or something. What is this? Oh, that's Timmy's. That's so he can clean the dust off the radio dial. And I was like, oh, okay, well. And then I also distinctly remember some episode where you were using a hairbrush to brush the fringe on an oriental carpet as well.
Oh, I moved way on. John can tell you about that. I now have a professional fringe rake.
But I will never forgive Tim because I don't know why he made this comparison, but somehow in HJ, may God rest its soul, I ended up buying Zippy the Pinhead as a cartoon for the magazine, which I thought would appeal to the young readers. But somehow Tim started calling me Zippy. And if you know Zippy the Pinhead, that's not necessarily a flattering comparison. And I always liked him, and I thought he was responsible for my rise in Syracuse and sort of picking me out of the crowd. But then to refer to me as Zippy, I still don't get it, but I think he meant it as a term of endearment. So, but anyway, when Sue contacted me to come here, it was a no-brainer to make the flight to come here. I honestly loved him. I think that you were responsible for everything that's been good in my career since I came to Syracuse, which was very early in my career. So everything that's come after that, and I respect you as a journalist and as a man, and we've had really wonderful times together personally, and so I'm just really happy to be here and to see all these people who've come out to pay tribute to you. So I'm happy for this opportunity. So, and all the best to you and Nancy. So thank you.
I'm an outsider. I'm Bob McClure from the Maxwell School, and I'm happy to say that Tim has not been responsible for my career. But it's also the case that I share with you, even though I didn't work for him, I have been yelled at by him and have been the object of his famous "I don't give a flying fuck." We had a falling out
which was only repaired by a mutual friend at a Christmas party 3 or 4 years after our falling out. And it was over, and Pat reminds me of it when I see him here. It was over Colin Powell's visit to the Maxwell School. And I called Tim to see if we could get some special coverage by the local paper for General Powell then. And we arranged that they would get a big exclusive, and they would plaster it all over the front page, wherever the hell it was. And then Pat would be able to be in the room when Powell talked, and from that would come another lovely story. About 24 hours before this was to happen, but 24 hours after Tim had run the big story on the front page, I got a call from Colin Powell's press secretary at the time, who happens to be someone you all give great coverage to now, Bill Smullen. Bill, the director of National Security Studies at the Maxwell School now, was a longtime aide to Colin Powell. Bill says, the general will not allow any reporter to be in the room. And I said, you can't do this to me, Bill. I've already given my word. Bill doesn't curse. He didn't say, I don't give a flying fuck. But he did tell me, if there's a reporter in the room, Powell doesn't speak. Now, the kids had all been promised that Colin Powell was coming to speak. So I called Tim. There are still people in the Maxwell School, because I'm a mild-mannered man. There are still people in the Maxwell School who remember. This was about 6 o'clock at night. There are people who, down the hall, remember the shouting match that went on the phone. And at one point, I get from Tim, I don't give a flying fuck. Who told you? If you don't, then the game sort of got to the point where, well, I'm going to fix it so Colin Powell doesn't speak. I'll get that guy in there. And I said, Tim, if you do that, then I'm going to tell every kid in the Maxwell School that the reason Colin Powell didn't speak was because of Tim Bunn. He says, you wouldn't do that. I said, test me.
I backed down.
He did.
You met his match.
And the Maxwell School and the students there were ever so grateful. Tim was a gentleman. I wasn't. I want to echo the words of your friend from Buffalo. I've been here at the Maxwell School for nearly 40 years now. I knew the Syracuse papers before you came, and I see what they are after you've been here. The papers in Syracuse today are infinitely better than they were before you came. They represent all of the community. They fight for all of the community. They have the highest standards. And I'm proud to have been yelled at by you. I deserved it. But we worked it out. The whole community is better for your service here.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
Tim Bunn is finally done. The Post is finally posted. The Herald has been heralded. The toasts are finally toasted. The last rant has been ranted. Last key left in the locks. Last paper has been papered in its rightful litter box. Last angry caller called back. Last press run has been pressed. The last memo's been memoed, unread like all the rest. The last email's been emailed. Last deadline finally dead. The last C-section, C-sectioned. Last headlines gotten head. Last copies have been copied. Last spelling's been misspelled. Last bureau rentals rented. Last insurrection quelled. Last hiring freeze still frozen. Last salary cap still capped. Last legal bullshit bullshat. Last fish wrap been fish wrapped. Last rewrite's been rewritten. Last compost pile composed. Last conjugal story buried. Corner office finally closed. Tim Bunn is finally done with us tonight in sorrow, but Tim Bunn starts day one when the sun comes up tomorrow. Now, we have a presentation. Are we going to have Tim speak before the presentation or after the presentation?
Oh, let's have him speak now.
Let's bring him up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Tim Bunn!
Charlie, I gotta go to the bathroom. God, I'm speechless. I know you don't believe that.
You're going to prove it.
I'm inarticulate as usual, but this time I'm actually speechless. God, yeah, this is just incredible. If my life were a mountain range, this would be just about the highest peak.
All the beers are empty.
I hope that all of you, I really do hope that all of you at one time in your life, Frank Sharp accepted because he's already been through it, have a moment like this. This is incredible to have friends, dear friends, wonderful colleagues from inside the paper, from outside the paper, gather in one spot, coming from, holy Jesus, halfway around the world. Do keep me laughing, or else this is going to be really awful.
And it's really far.
Well, yeah, Albany, Buffalo, all come together to show your affection, to show your respect, and I love the fact that you goof on me, that you skewer me, that you roast me.
You like me, you really like
because the only people who do that, you only do that to people that you like. First of all, I've got to thank Sue. Sue. She was behind all of this. She arranged it, and as usual, it's so. You talk about me being obsessive compulsive. Sue is our. I saw that. That's love. Sue is our Martha Stewart. And I fully expect to see her doing some serious time in federal prison soon for all of the slanders tonight. And I really do thank all of you. I can never conjure the words to adequately express the thanks for all this kindness. I wish I were funny. I'm basically not a funny guy. I yell a lot, or I used to. I swear a lot still. And I thank you for not going too deeply into all of that.
It's all in the script.
Okay.
And tape.
Speaking of scrapbooks, I was looking at my scrapbook that Nancy brought over. I hope some of you get a chance to look at it. She worked for a long time on it. And I saw something in there that I don't know how many of you know about my life before I got here. I've been here 26 years, but in the first 34 years, I moved 24 times. My dad was a career sailor. I was in the Army. I newspapered in Rochester. I newspapered in Miami. So 24 moves. I got to know a lot of people, and I got to know a lot of places. And so I was looking for the scrapbook tonight that Nancy was going to bring over, and I noticed that she had a song that John Lennon wrote. He said it was the first good song he ever wrote, and it's called In My Life. And there's a lyric in there that says something like, I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I've loved you more. I get by with a little help from my friends. Thank you very much.
We have a couple things for you to open now, and then I want everyone to eat like there's no tomorrow. I don't want any leftovers.
I've got a little suspicion here because there was an email I got from you.
From me? Mistakenly?
You innocent thing.
Oh, this is fabulous. This is a treasure. But what I was going to say is you had inexplicably you sent me an email asking about the artwork in my office, and I thought, what the world is this about? What's
To throw you off base.
You did a good job.
It's a red herring.
This is fabulous.
Great.
He's great. This is fabulous. Thank you all so very much. Oh my God.
Tim, Extras was having a sale, so we got it.
Oh man. Can I pass it around? Yes, absolutely. Just so long as you don't
fingerprint it.
damage it, soil it, there's a cloth for that. Fingerprints on the glass will never be wiped off.
Let's do that in the office. Put my fingers on his desk. I'm good. I'll send you a drive to papers. I do that. Rough up the papers.
Military days, we've got some photos from the paper, and when you have time,
He's going to love this. He's going to be kept busy.
you probably remember these.
Yeah, actually, I have pictures of cake.
But I love this one.
Oh, you are evil.
Now, this was the original. This was the print. The rest of the pages are all anecdotes that people sent from far and wide. Some people couldn't make it tonight. Some people came and just wanted to share. But you will have some good reading for the next 10 years.
Okay,